Wildfire, destiny, and the power of fall. How a small bird shook the universe. Welcome to today's commentary. Today, we're going to talk about a super exciting, mind-blowing story that holds some incredibly practical life philosophy, just how powerful the force of one's vast aspiration can be. Ready? Let us dive straight in. The wildfire and the miracle. Imagine a scene straight out of a disaster movie. The Buddha was traveling through a forest with a massive entourage. 250 bhikkhu monks, 500 urchins, and even 500 beggars. Suddenly, with a massive boom, a colossal forest fire erupted. Raging flames completely surrounded them. You can imagine the chaos, people running for their lives, screaming for help. That sheer terror of impending death was suffocating. But here comes the turning point. While everyone else was having a total meltdown, the infinitely compassionate Buddha didn't panic at all. With absolute calm, he recited a verse. By the power of the Buddha, the power of the Arhats, and the majestic divine power of the sublime Dharma, may this fire be swiftly extinguished. This wasn't just some ordinary prayer, it was a powerful declaration of absolute truth. And guess what? The moment he finished speaking, the raging fire was instantly wiped out. No fire trucks, no water sprinklers, just pure truth and the power of a vow resolving a fatal crisis. The spiritual leap. Having survived such a miraculous near-death experience, the crowd was utterly awestruck. Not only did they develop absolute faith in the Triple Gem, but they also experienced an incredible spiritual breakthrough. Some instantly attained the stage of stream enter Sotapanna or even Arhatship. Others accumulated the blessings to become returning kings, Chakravartin, Brahma kings, or Chakra Lord of Devas in future lifetimes. Countless others planted the precious seeds to achieve supreme enlightenment Bodhi in their hearts. Talk about a blessing in disguise. A destiny across lifetimes. As everyone was marveling at the Buddha's divine power, he dropped a massive bombshell. He calmly told them, "Actually, this isn't the first time I've saved you from a fire. A long, long time ago, I saved this exact same group of people." Wow, with that one sentence, the entire scope of the story expands. This wasn't a coincidence, it was a destiny crossing through time and space. Our perspective now travels back with the Buddha to remote, ancient forests. There, the great Bodhisattva didn't manifest as the radiant, majestic Buddha we usually picture. Instead, he was a tiny, unremarkable bird, a partridge. The tale of the tiny partridge. A terrifying fire broke out in that ancient forest too. Any animal that could run or fly had already fled for their lives, leaving behind only the nestlings whose feathers hadn't even grown in yet. They were trapped, waiting for death. But this little partridge chose not to run. What did it do? It flew frantically to the water, dipped its tiny wings in, and flew back over the raging fire, shaking off the few minuscule drops of water onto the ocean of flames. Honestly, from a physics standpoint, this was just a drop in the bucket, completely useless. But what force drove it to do this? It was a vast, unreserved compassion, pure to the absolute core. The little partridge didn't just sprinkle water, it also made a supreme vow. By the truth of my long-cultivated Bodhi, may this fierce fire be extinguished immediately. The energy of this vow was so immense that it shook the universe and moved Chakra, the ruler of the heavens. Deeply touched by this incredible bodhisattva, Chakra instantly sent down a torrential downpour, putting out the fire and saving all those helpless little lives. The continuity of karma. This perfectly illustrates the fascinating continuity of karma. The little bird that risked its life back then is the Buddha today. And the baby birds that almost burned to death are the people trapped by the fire today. Digging deeper, this group of people had actually left the home life to cultivate together during the era of Kassapa Buddha. It was because they had planted such deep, wholesome connections in the past that they met again today to achieve liberation together. This is the truth that karma never perishes. Samanartha walking in their shoes. Hearing this, we might have a very logical question which the master specifically pointed out, since he was a great bodhisattva with such immense power. Why didn't he just descend in his majestic, glorious form to save everyone? Why choose to reincarnate as a tiny, vulnerable bird that could barely protect itself? This brings out a very profound and moving concept in Buddhism called Samanartha. To guide sentient beings, A bodhisattva must manifest in the exact same form as you, speak the same language, endure the same karma, and even do the same ordinary jobs. True empathy isn't about standing high above and reaching down to help. It's about jumping into the mud right next to you, standing by your side, and finding the perfect moment in that natural companionship to awaken you. That is true compassion. In other words, Buddhas and Bodhisattvas don't always appear in holy, pristine forms. The master explained that if the conditions require it, they will even manifest as people at the very bottom of society, like thieves or outcasts penetrating the darkest corners of the mundane world. They blend into the crowd, trying every possible way to find an opening, just to wake you up at the perfect moment. This is the grand promise of a bodhisattva, never to give up on any living being. Taming the senses and the formula of false. Shifting from the bodhisattva's mindset, the master brought the topic back to concrete practices we can do every day, taming the senses. Simply put, this is an active process of self-control. You must learn to govern your eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, and mind, rather than letting your senses be dragged around by the fleeting world. You need to subdue afflictions and negative emotions before they take control of you. The master used a super vivid analogy. If you don't train your mind, your untamed senses are like runaway horses or restless monkeys. Your eyes and ears are constantly hunting for worldly temptations, and your mind is frantically jumping between various desires without a second of peace. That's why taming them is so vital. The qualities of a leader. During the Q&A session, someone asked how one could become a king who leads the masses. The master's answer completely flipped the traditional concept of power upside down. He said true authority, the karmic qualification to be a ruler, is built on just one foundation. You must love every single person in the world as if they were your own child. If you lack this profound, parental love for the people, you are not fit to be a true leader. The 7-step formula for powerful vows. If you want your vows to have real power, the master provided a highly practical, mechanical 3-step formula. Accumulate tangible merit. G. By praising the Buddha and the Dharma. Make a clear, specific vow in your mind. Dedicate all the merit you just accumulated directly into that vow. By doing this, your vow becomes incredibly powerful and complete. Why does this mechanism work so miraculously? Because a vow is ultimately a karmic seed. When you plant the cause and nourish it with merit, it is ready. All it needs is the right time, place, and conditions. When all conditions perfectly align in the future, the seed will naturally and inevitably bloom into reality. This is the most fascinating part of the law of cause and effect. A stern warning. But don't get ahead of yourselves. The master also issued a very stern warning. Even if you have held the bodhisattva precepts for lifetimes, love the people like your own children, and became a great king, if you indulge your senses in this lifetime and commit the 10 evil deeds, you will still plunge straight into the 3 miserable realms to suffer. This serves as a constant reminder of why taming our senses is a fundamental practice we can never afford to slack off on. Food for thought. As we wrap up today's commentary, I want to leave you with a core question to think about. No matter what role you play in life right now, are you willing to let go of your ego, truly step into someone else's shoes, and understand their pain? Do you possess that kind of love that treats those around you like your own children? Keep that tiny, unremarkable partridge in its universe-shaking vow in your heart. Who knows, the next time you face a raging fire in your own life, a single shift in your mindset might just summon the soothing rain that puts out the flames.